The Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Mr Speaker, Mr Peters touched on a very important point. He identified a salient point in respect of the far north. We now know why John Carter is coming back after a very, very swift tenure as an ambassador to the Cook Islands, because he's shocked and outraged at the lack of representation by that member over there. Now, every member that has got up, every member, including that one, that has got up in this House has been challenged by the opposition to provide some simple numbers. And those simple numbers are the numbers of jobs created. Now, he can barrack at me and have a go, but it doesn't cover up the fact that he was asked, and I challenge him now. I say to that member now, I will yield to him if he gets up and gives us the number of jobs that his government has created in Northland, because we know that Northland has the highest unemployment of any area in the country. We know, and I'll give that member some numbers, 30% increase in Maori unemployment under his government. So he talked about pathways and strategies and task forces and priorities. All the Kiwi wants to know, the average Kiwi, whether they be in Northland or Southland or Otago or the Central North Island, they simply want to know, Mr Sabin, where are the jobs? Because they were promised in this budget and others a brighter future. They were told that things would get better. Maori were told that there would be job opportunities for them. They've been let down, and 30% increase in Northland unemployment for Maori is an indictment on that member. No wonder John Carter's coming home, I say. No wonder he's coming home. In Northland, Sanford's closed their oyster factory under this regime. And I say this, that if you ask any Kiwi around the country what they want from their government, they simply want something simple. They want a fair go. They want a fair go. They want a job. Why do they want a job? Because that provides some income and some dignity and some pride on the table. And that pride leads to what this crowd talk about but do not create. That job, that income leads to something called economic and social opportunity. A chance for mum and dad to get up on the ladder. A chance for the first home buyer who is in a job to try and get a house. That's what a job is about. That is what an income is about. Opportunity, which this crew over here crow about. They say they have a legacy of creating economic opportunity, but that legacy is not matched by any fact, whether it be in that member's electorate in the far north or anywhere else around the country. People want a fair go in respect of asset sales. They don't want them sold. People want a fair go in terms of housing. Young people cannot get up on the ladder. What do we say? We say we're going to build 100,000 affordable homes over 10 years. What's their plan? No one knows. We say that we're going to put Kiwis, to quote Mr English, but we'll deliver on it. In terms of housing, we'll put Kiwis ahead of the queue and we'll stop the foreign speculators coming in. We say that we will train young people. We have a policy, the unemployment benefit to train young people and apprentices, and Nicky Wagner talks about Christchurch. Well, the great man, Jerry Brownlee, came to the Select Committee today, and what did he tell us? 25 foreign workers are being imported into Christchurch every day. That's 9,125 per year, and that's 1/16 of the unemployment rate at 142,000. And we said to Jerry Brownlee this morning in public session, we said, hang on a minute, shouldn't you consider the overall cost of things, not just the price of a product or getting it the cheapest? Shouldn't you also consider the transfer cost of when you're doing it cheap and you're importing it? The people who aren't being employed because you're not training them are on the dole, and that's a cost. Oh no, this crowd do not look at things, sir, holistically. People deserve a fair go, sir, and they want a fair go in respect of their power bills. Now, John Key says, quote, Kiwis are not paying too much for power. That's what he says. Simon Bridges, his energy minister, said it as well. Well, no one believes these guys. Is Mr Sabin prepared to go up to his people in Maori and others in Northland and stand on the stump and say to them, you lucky individuals, you should be grateful because you are not paying too much for your power? Oh no, plenty of guts in the house here, but he won't go out to Kaikoui and other places, sir, and make that claim on the stump. We say we have a power plan. We will bring, sir, those power prices down. We have talked about wages. We have talked about training. We say we will give people a fair go with housing because we will introduce incentives to move investment across from the obsession we have about housing speculation into business, proper business investment. So we have a plan. Over there, we have strategies, task forces, all sorts of things. Remember the Financial Centre of Excellence? That was going to be the big hit. Didn't happen. Remember the road to nowhere, the cycleway? Didn't create any jobs. So we have a concrete and practical plan over here, and I just come back to every member as they crawl their way into the chamber and ask them this. The Minister for MSD, show me the jobs in the regions that this government has created. Because Mr Sabin couldn't tell us, Ms Wagner couldn't tell us. As they bring in Christchurch, 25 brothers and sisters from overseas, good souls nonetheless, as we have 70 to 80,000 young people on the dole and they refuse to train them. They think if you throw a few coins at a polytech who are doing an admirable job, that's called mass training. These geniuses were so stupid that they have an earthquake in Christchurch, a tragedy, which is a massive economic opportunity. An opportunity to train the 30 to 40,000 young people into trade training that we so desperately need, instead of bringing in 25 of our brothers and sisters per day from overseas. Now I ask them, is that a good strategy? Who's selling out who? Where are the job creation opportunities for young people? Because I come back to this. Kiwis at their essence are not greedy people, they just want a fair go. A job gives an income gives dignity and pride. An income allows you to go home as parents and look your kids in the eye as you paid for the bread you put on their table. It also gives an economic opportunity that you might be able to put a little bit aside. You might be able to become a little bit entrepreneurial. You might be able to say to the wife or the husband, hey, or the partner, we're going to plan and we're going to try and save for a first home. But it doesn't help when the government that was voted in undercuts those Kiwis and those basic Kiwi values and aspirations every time they try to have a crack, every time they want to get a job, every time they're looking for a training opportunity. Because yes, there are some people who slip and slide around the economy, we understand that. But I say this because I believe in this country that 99% of Kiwis who are in that lost and lonely category would do anything to get out of it, are ambitious, to quote the National Party pamphlets, ambitious for New Zealand. Well, if this is all they've got, 30% increase in Maori unemployment in Northland, if that's ambitious, well, I'm speechless. If that's the ambition that these people have. Because I'll say this, I know, you don't get that lucky with me, mate. You don't get that lucky. Because I challenge any of these speakers, the member for Taranaki, Mr Young, others to stand up and tell us just simply what Kiwis want to know. And that is, how many jobs have these people created? How many practical training opportunities have these people created? Not slogans, not task forces, not pathways, not action plans. That is meaningless to people. Absolutely meaningless. And they talk about fiscal restraint. They talk about fiscal restraint. Well, I remind the Finance Minister, as he's on the phone to upstairs trying to work out who's leaking the next set of figures, I say to him, 9 years is the legacy of this government, the Labor government, of surplus. 9 years of surplus. Not waste, surplus. And I recall being attacked by that man because the National Party accused the Labor government then of being too mean because we wouldn't spend it. And I say this, zero crown debt. Zero crown debt. Zero crown debt. So I invite these members to go back to the regions with the two-speed economy we have, where in regional New Zealand is withering on the vine thanks to them, i.e. Northland, withering on the vine. They won't tell us their unemployment plans. They won't come up and have anything practical, but they're good with words and they're good with spin. I say they are out of touch. This budget is out of touch, Mr Speaker, and the 142,000 people that languish on the dole queue every day, thanks to this crew, is the legacy of this budget and the legacy of 5 long years of this country being in the wilderness and rudderless, with an inward-looking government that is more concerned with their own scandalous behaviour, propped up by two rotten piles, Mr Dunn and Mr Banks. They need to get real, sir. They need to provide some real opportunities for Kiwis.
In reply, the Minister of Finance, the Honourable Bill English. This is a time debate.
Speaker.
You have 8 minutes. I'll give you a 2-minute bell.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Speaker,